archaeologists decided to open it, the only Ming emperor's tomb ever excavated. As the workmen opened the heavy tomb doors, a giant corridor was revealed, far larger than any Egyptian pharaoh's tomb. And there lay the lacquered coffins of the emperor and two of his wives. The tomb was opened by the communist authorities as a lesson in class consciousness, to demonstrate how the capitalist rulers had lived a life of luxury whilst the toiling masses starved. They could not have chosen a better example, as the lavish grave goods amply demonstrated, amongst them this light as air woven gold cap. The combination of lavish living and incompetent governing couldn't last. 24 years after this tomb was completed, the dynasty was over. But it wasn't the wall that let the Ming down. It was a love affair. The Chinese believed that their Great Wall, constructed by millions of workers, would protect them forever. But in fact, it was destroyed by a pretty face. The story begins with the sack of Beijing in 1644 by a rebel army. In the chaos that followed, a nomadic tribe, the Manchu, saw a perfect opportunity to invade. Their immense army marched against China, but the Great Wall remained intact. Not an inch of wall was destroyed or even damaged during the invasion. This is the fort the Manchu really wanted to capture. It was commanded by the greatest and most faithful general of the entire empire, General Wu. Which makes it all the more strange that he is not here among the fort's collection of China's greatest soldiers. He is not included because of what he did when he was confronted by the Manchu army. The general had only one weakness: his love for a concubine, the Lady Chen, famous as the round-faced beauty. Lady Chen unfortunately also attracted the attention of the Chinese rebel leader, who had just sacked Beijing. Desperate to regain his lost love, General Wu called upon his hated enemy, the Manchus, to help him crush the rebellion. And of course, free his beloved Lady Chen. Here at Shanhaiguan, General Wu did the unthinkable. He opened the gates of the Great Wall and let the Manchu army in. The greatest civil engineering project in history failed, but not because of any structural weakness. It crumbled because of the smile of a pretty girl. The new Manchu dynasty tried something different with their neighbors: diplomacy. Here in their lovely summer palace, they greeted delegations from all over the Eastern world. Attendance was compulsory. Neighbors were expected to pay tribute to the emperor. This was Manchu diplomacy. But guests had to be comfortable. The emperor even sent officials to Tibet to draw and measure the Dalai Lama's residence, and then built a scale model to make his guest feel at home. The Dalai Lama never made the trip. But the other great spiritual leader of Tibet, the Panchen Lama, did pay a visit. So great was his prestige that, according to Tibetan sources, he was asked by the emperor to sit on the dragon throne, a totally unique privilege. Chinese sources picture him in a rather more humble pose, offering the emperor a sacred scarf. And for him, the emperor had his palace in Tibet faithfully reconstructed. It was certainly cheaper to build these great temples with their sinuous golden dragons than to man and maintain the Great Wall. The emperor even went so far as to learn Tibetan, so as to talk to his visitor without translators. and he ordered all the main public inscriptions to be in all the languages of the Manchu Empire: Tibetan, Chinese, Mongolian, and Manchu. Many monks settled here and still continued to worship, long after the last emperor had left his throne. And as for the Great Wall, it was allowed to fall into ruin once again, a defense no longer needed. The only wall the Manchu dynasty cared about was the one that ran right around their palace, built to protect the wild game they loved to hunt. The Great Wall, for the first time in its history, was of no value to the Chinese people. And now the wall's last intriguing chapter was about to be written.